It's recently been reported that the New York Knicks are going to continue to have interest in Timberwolves star Karl Anthony Towns, and we have to talk about this. So what's up, guys? Welcome to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to waste no time and jump right into the video today because Shams reported that the New York Knicks are going to continually have interest in Karl Anthony Towns, and here's what he had to say on the matter. The Knicks are always going to have interest in Cat, but nothing has materialized as of yet. They have young players that they could potentially throw into a trade. Obviously, since trading for OG Anunoby, the Knicks have a lot less young talent than they once did, as RJ or Quickly could have headlined a trade for a superstar or star player need be. But they still have guys like Quentin Grimes, and Shams actually directly mentioned Quentin Grimes as an option for someone who the Knicks could put into that trade. And let me just say this right now. Before, a few months back, Dariel and I had talked about Towns. Dariel said that he really did not move the needle, and I just outright said that I don't want Karl Anthony Towns on this team. I don't think he makes much sense on the New York Knicks because he would either be playing center, leading to a Julius Randle power forward and Towns center duo, which would be atrocious on defense, or he moves to power forward, which is not his natural position, unlike the Minnesota Timberwolves have seemed to realize yet, and they will. Now, I feel even more like I don't want Karl Anthony Towns because Julius Randle is flat out the better player at this point. I don't care that Towns is a better shooter than him. Towns is inconsistent. He's one of the worst defenders I've ever seen. The man can't play a lick of defense without fouling. He is going to foul out of playoff games once again. And he's not even a good enough player. Why are we talking about Karl Anthony Towns like he's a 28 point per game scorer? Because he's not one. He's not. He's not at all. These are Karl Anthony Towns' career averages. For his career, he averages 23 points per game. And yes, that is very good. I am not going to dispute that. And outside of his rookie year, he's always been above 20 points per game. However, since moving to power forward, because the Timberwolves traded all their draft picks for Rudy Gobert, he has averaged 21 points per game. That is not that good. I don't know why everyone wants to act like it's that good, and I understand that Anthony Edwards emerging has been part of the reason why Towns has not played as well. But if you just look at this stat graphic for a second time, you would realize that Towns is in fact shooting more threes. As of last season, this year, he's not shooting as many, and it's working because Towns isn't shooting the ball as much this year. Why? Because he is not the superstar the Knicks need. He's not a star. Sure, he's made 3 All-Star games. In what, 9 seasons? He's probably not making it this year. I don't know why we're acting like he makes it every year. When people say they don't want Donovan Mitchell, guess what? Donovan Mitchell is a lot better than Karl Anthony Towns is on both sides of the ball. And yeah, I'm aware that Donovan Mitchell is not a good defender. But that's just how it is, guys. Look, I get it. Towns is from New York, or from New Jersey, and close enough. He's in CAA. Rick Brunson coached him when Brunson coached in Minnesota. Garrison Rosas works for the Knicks, and Rosas obviously worked for the Timberwolves. And Leon Rose is, CAA, Towns is CAA. I get it. The connections are there. Here's the connection that I don't want. Towns' connection to him and wearing a New York Knicks jersey. He's not that good. I don't know why everyone believes like he's some Knicks savior, because he's not going to be that. I'm sorry, but he's not. Get over it. I don't know who, if anyone in the Knicks hive is still pro Towns. It's hard to find anyone who still feels this way, because Julius is clearly better. Mitchell Robinson is clearly a better fit for the New York Knicks. What if the Knicks just said, all right, let's trade Mitch in some 3-team trade. We'll throw in other contracts to make it work, such as the Evan Fournier one, and other contracts, because also at the end of his deal, Towns is going to be making $60 million, mind you. Let's just throw assets away because we don't have bad contracts outside of the Fournier one. Land Karl Anthony Towns and play him at center. Yeah, I bet Tibbs will love that. I bet he'll love coaching that defense when Towns just fouls out of playoff games because he's such a horrific defender. I'm not trying to just absolutely smash Towns right here and just, destroy, the fact that he is a very good offensive player. But what the Timberwolves are doing with him is working really well. Because they have Rudy Gobert covering for him and Jaden McDaniels. Those are the 2 guys he's in the front court with. Don't get it twisted. Rudy Gobert is the best big man defender in the NBA, and Jaden McDaniels is probably the best perimeter defender in the NBA. The Knicks have a worse version of that in OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks have a better power forward because they have Julius Randle, who in his last 18 games is averaging 28 points per game, and for the season is averaging 24 points per game. He also doesn't randomly play badly for no reason this season. If you look, these are Towns' last 5 games. Yeah, he did great against the Knicks. He scored 29 points and grabbed 6 rebounds and got 3 assists or whatever and turned the ball over 3 times and also got 5 fouls. Against the Timberwolves, against the Lakers, he had 9 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 turnovers, and wouldn't you know it, 5 fouls. Against the Dallas Mavericks, he had 10 and 8. Enes Kanter numbers, especially when you consider this 5 turnovers, and who would have guessed it? 5 fouls. And then against the Thunder, he picked it up a bit and had 16 points with 6 rebounds, and then he had a good game where he had 21, 6, and 4 against the Lakers a different time. Can we stop acting? Here are his stats again. Sorry, I have things a little mixed up right here. But really, can we just knock it off with this Karl Anthony Towns stuff? Why would the Timberwolves trade him? Why? They're the best defense in the NBA, and they have him, who's more than a defensive liability, on the court. He's one of their best offensive players, and they're good right now. They're really good right now. They are the best defense in the NBA, and they're doing it with 4 people who play defense. And one of them is really old in Mike Conley, and he's still playing better defense than Towns is. I don't understand. Someone please comment down below why the Knicks should trade for Karl Anthony Towns. Give me one reason, because I can't think of one. Because there's just no world where it makes sense. I would rather Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson than any variation of one of those guys and Karl Anthony Towns. I really would. I don't see the point. I don't see the point when you have Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, why you would go for Towns. I get it. He's an elite shooter. But the Knicks don't need elite shooting right now. They don't. They got OG, who's a good shooter. They got DiVincenzo, who's over 40%. They got Brunson, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. They don't need another one. They need Mitchell Robinson's defense. They need Julius Randle's type of play, where he can actually pass the ball without turning it over. They need those guys more than they need Karl Anthony Towns. And believe me, where Karl Anthony Towns is right now is really good for him, and he's playing well in his role. So I'm not trying to just absolutely bash on Towns right here, but I think Towns' fit with the Knicks would be like if I took my foot and tried to put a children's glove on it. That's what it feels like. Because it is absolutely ridiculous to think that the Knicks should trade for Towns. It makes no sense. Please do not do this, Leon Rose. Stop having interest in Karl Anthony Towns and go in literally any other direction, please. It doesn't make sense. It won't make sense. Not with this core. I don't see how Towns fits. And I don't want a defensive liability like that on the court, either with Julius Randle or replacing Julius Randle, because recently Julius has been more effective than Towns has been at his job. Let's not move Towns. Let's not pretend like the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to trade Towns when he's been their longest tenured player, and now they're one of the best teams in the entire Western Conference and in the NBA as a whole. So please, 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 can we stop this nonsense? They're 24-8. If they were going to trade Towns, it would have been one of the 555 years that they missed the playoffs when Towns was on the team. It wouldn't happen right now. So that's that. Comment down below if you think the Knicks should go for Towns. If you do, please tell me why. Have a great day, and go Knicks.